Welcome to Literacy Home Learning. This is a literacy unit appropriate for children learning from home during this extended school closure. It is designed to provide learning opportunities for primary age children and will help to develop their ability within the national curriculum. This is lesson 9 in the series. Please listen along, pause the video when necessary, and be sure to listen for the task appropriate for your age and ability. To be prepared for today's lesson, make sure you have something to write with and your home learning book. Follow along with the video and be sure to pause when you have been given a task to complete. You will know when to pause when you see the symbol in the bottom corner of the screen. Today's learning objective is to be able to plan the next part of your story. Remember, by the end of this unit, we would like you to have planned, written and created your own version of the book Leon and the Place Between. Your book will be an alternate version of the story with your own drawings. Time for the first quick task of today's lesson. With your home teacher, discuss the main events of when we first meet Abdul Kazam. Remember to make notes in your home learning book. Here's what happens when Abdul Kazam appears in the story. Firstly, Abdul Kazam appears. Then, Abdul Kazam starts performing magic tricks. These included paper flowers blossom from his sleeves, silk scarves change colour at a whispered word, water pours into a hat and turns into night's air. Bright white handkerchiefs become fluttering doves. Next, Abdul Kazam reveals the box with the door to the place between. And finally, Abdul Kazam asks someone to join him on stage. Time for your next quick task of today's lesson. With your home teacher, discuss how you could change some of these events so that the story is different. We would like the story to still have a similar journey, but for you to make some key changes. Remember to make notes in your home learning book. So what did you decide to change? We thought you could change Abdul Kazam's appearance. We also thought you could change the different magic tricks he performs. To be able to give Abdul Kazam a different appearance, you'll need to know what he looked like. So here are some pictures from the book that show you what the magician Abdul Kazam looked like. As you can see, he wears a red hat and a long purple cloak with lots of decoration on. He also has a small pointy beard and a thin moustache. So what do magicians look like? Here are some examples that we found. Maybe you can use these to help you when describing your magician in your story. Key stage 1. What needs to be in your story today when you're planning? You need to introduce the magician. You need to tell us what tricks does he or she do. Trick 1 and trick 2 need to be described. You need to reveal the box with the door to the place between. And you need to call your main character onto stage. Key stage 1, time for your main task of the lesson. In your home learning book, plan the next part of your story using a comic strip to draw the main events. Under each drawing, you must explain briefly what is happening. Remember to make changes to the original story to make your own alternate version. Remember, this is the next part of your story plan, starting where your plan from last lesson left off. Key stage 2. What needs to be in your story when you're planning today? Again, you will need to introduce the magician. What does he look like? How does your main character feel when the magician arrives on stage? We would like you to plan 3 different tricks. Remember to describe the trick and how the people feel. Then reveal the box with the door to the place between. And finally, call your main character onto stage. Year 3 and 4, here's your main task of today's lesson. In your home learning books, plan the next part of your story using a comic strip to draw the main events. Under each drawing, you must explain briefly what is happening and how the characters feel. Remember to make changes to the original story to make your own alternate version. You must also remember that this is the next part of your story plan, starting where your plan from last lesson left off. Year 5 and 6, here's your main task of today's lesson. In your home learning book, plan the next part of your story using a comic strip to draw the main events. Under each drawing, you must explain briefly what is happening and how the characters feel. Once you have completed your comic strip, we would like you to create different word banks to describe the appearance of the magician and his tricks. Remember to make changes to the original story to make your own alternate version. Also remember that this is the next part of your story plan, starting where your plan from last lesson left off. So how do you think you've done? Time to share your work with your home teacher, but before you do this, make sure you have checked for spelling and punctuation mistakes. Well done everyone, that's the end of lesson 9. Be sure to join us in the next lesson to continue writing your story.